Hello everybody, welcome back to some more viewer coaching. Today we got Lormen, who says that he struggles with cleanly forcing out errors. So let's see if we can help him out. We're doing the platinum coaching as per usual this week, so if you are platinum and you're struggling to rank up, hopefully this will help you out on the battlefield. And let's see, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some pretty poor dodges, I would say, or at least like maybe always dodging in the same direction. I'm going to keep dodging in, and let's see how you punish it. So yeah, I'm going to try and make my defense, I guess, less precise and see how you punish it, right? So I've dodged in like over and over and over again in that scenario, and going for a dodge out read there, I mean, if you are trying to adapt to someone and you're trying to adjust their play, that was a fantastic spot dodge read, by the way. If you are trying to adjust to their play, I think it's not a bad thing to try and read a dodge out there, given that people will want to mix things up. But given that I am just always dodging in here, it seems like just going for a dodge in punish is the thing to do. And your dodge in punishes, I don't think have been too precise, I would say. I think labbing those out will be good as well. But that's more so getting the punish. So let's talk about drawing out errors more. It's a good question. I think one thing to do and one way to draw out errors is to be extremely clean yourself. So if I'm like in your face right here, right? The less time that you have to react to me, the more likely you are to make a mistake. And how do you do that? By having clean movement. So if I'm hopping around here, like I lost that one interaction out of the past like 4, and because of that I was able to build up damage for you to get into the red. And why is that? Well, I'm able to force out some errors, some misses from you. And the reason why is because I'm in your face and you kind of have to guess what I'm going to do. Because if I do it, you're not going to be able to react to it. Now me, I can't react to anything apparently, so that's a different story. But yeah, like that end light, for example, I'm kind of just weaving in and out of your zone, trying to bait something out, and that's something that you can try as well. Now I mentioned this in the last 2 videos, so I won't go harp on it too much, but doing something like practicing jumping around and not getting hit in their zone, right? Not even attacking them, just moving around. You can kind of see how people tend to throw out attacks and stuff like that and get punishes, and hopefully, you know, you'll be able to read that for the future and get some hits. So like I noticed that you go for a lot of these falling aerials and stuff like that. Fantastic edge guard, by the way. Seems like you have a lot of areas of your game that are fairly clean, and then you start to get maybe a little bit nervous when people are close to you, and you start throwing out attacks without thinking too much. So I'd be aware of that as well. So something like that falling Sarah, for example, not really guaranteed to hit. So right now I'm going to try and jump around in your space once again and bait out attacks, and we'll see how you handle it. Maybe I'll be able to give some tips. I missed the punish there, which is unfortunate. Yeah, also every time you hit me, I'm going to try and dodge in. We'll see if I can force myself to do that. It's not a typical habit, but yeah, it seems like when I'm hopping around, you kind of aren't sure what to do, so you're just going for stuff that you hope will hit, and maybe that's worked in the past, but as you start to get to higher level and you want to get diamond, if you want to rank up to diamond, being more accurate with your attacks is definitely something that has to come along with that, because people are a lot more proficient at moving around and not getting hit, and then hitting you with their own thing. So it looks like you're trying to mix things up, you're noticing it's not working, so now you're doing this like dodge in to get into my face and into my space and stuff like that, throwing out something to catch my jump. That was a good read. Yeah, and this dodge in, for example, like if I'm trying to get a knockout or something like that, I'll just wait for that dodge in and then I'll go for a jump Sair, kind of like that, but more so to punish the dodge. Now, all of that I'm saying about cleanly forcing out errors through your own movement is only really in regards to aggressive play when we're talking about moving forward, but as opposed to more defensive play, more passive play, you can do the same thing with your movement, it's just a little bit different. So let's say I'm floating above you, I'm trying to wait out an attack, trying to get you to do something. A way to do that is to look at your opponent, honestly, is something that I don't think a lot of people do, but you want to be comfortable enough with your own movement that you don't have to look at your own character model. You want to only really look at your opponent and then look at yourself when the time comes, when you're knocked off stage, stuff like that. But primarily you want your focus to be on your opponent, and if you're playing more passively, if you're jumping around, you're trying to bait out an attack more safely with more space, maybe on guns, that's typical what you do on the ground and also in the air with side airs, sometimes with down airs as well, but you really want to be paying attention to how your opponent moves, and you can bait out errors by paying attention to that and then noticing when they do something else, when they start to panic, when their emotions start to run high, and that's when you can really start to get those bigger punishes, because their mental stack is starting to get overloaded, which is to say that when you have a lot of things on your mind, despite maybe playing like a machine the entire game, at some point you are human and you will slow down, because the more things you have to think about, the less you'll be able to actually handle it, and you'll maybe fall for some bad reads, some dumb edge guards and stuff like that, which, you know, it happens to everyone. And playing at a high level is all about managing that mental stack and having things in your muscle memory good enough, like movement, for example, if you can move around without getting attacked, kind of in your muscle memory, sort of like that. Like, you don't really have to think about it, and so all that mental energy can go towards other things. I know I'm kind of getting sidetracked because I'm supposed to be talking about baiting out errors, but yeah, that's part of it. Like, the cleaner you play and the more consistent you are, your opponent at some point is going to crack. And if you can really pay attention to it, the small cracks start to show. You know, it is more obvious when people just immediately tilt, right? They start going for charge signatures. They start like just running across the map hoping to hit you. They just start using the same move over and over again, right? That's I think everyone can notice that. But some of the smaller things, right? When you start going for the same dodges or the same wake up attacks, or when you're trying to fast fall too early, as opposed to earlier when you were just, you know, jumping around, waiting, being patient, being safe with your movement. When you start to notice those things, those are small errors. And so I'll try and point out some of them in your game. I haven't really been paying too much attention because I've just been talking a lot. I apologize for that. But I'll definitely focus on that in the next game and try and help you out in that area. Now, it seems like on this edge guard here, are you going to do the gun stuff? You are going to do the gun stuff, so that's good. And then threatening the wall there is great. If you hit that cider, you can get your own cider off the wall, or another cider, I should say, off the wall and get a KO. So yeah, not a bad edge guard at all. And let's jump into this third game now. Alright, third game on Apocalypse here. So once again, this third game, I'm going to be focusing on your own errors. So what I'm going to do is actually, I'm going to play more aggressively than I have been. And I'm going to try and see what you do when stuff starts to get quicker. When you start to maybe get overwhelmed. Because that's also something that that can really cause people to make mistakes, is if they have to think quicker, if they don't have time to think on their feet, then they may make more impulsive decisions, whereas they may be like normally a very, very calm, cool, collected player. And you may go for stuff that you normally wouldn't go for, but it's stuff that happens when you panic. And if it's stuff that happens when you panic, then a last stock red scenario, you may throw it out and get you punished, make you lose the game, lose the set, whatever it is. And so one thing that I am noticing is that when it seems like you're not sure what to do in neutral with guns, a lot of the time you throw out this GC downlight, which in the past has worked before because it's caught me jumping around, but now as I'm starting to focus on approaching more, I did that dodge down to get through it, and then I'm able to get a punish on it. If I'm playing a weapon, if I'm playing a weapon like gauntlets, a weapon like guitars, that'll give me a full string, so you got to be careful about that. On axe, it'll give me an extra hit. Also, you seem like you dodge down a lot to get right back into the combat, and that is a common habit. See, that jump right there, I was going to go for an instant dare, but I didn't want to gimp or anything like that, so but definitely be aware off stage, especially if the rate of the play is starting to get faster. Going for those instant jumps off stage, that's a very common habit as well that gets people killed and gimped early, especially in those last stock scenarios. So yeah, right there you saw that I wasn't going to go for a punish, so you didn't dodge, you didn't do anything immediately, and that was fantastic. That was great. I'm going to go for an axe sidelight into nair into recovery, which, ow. I'm talking about movement a lot. I'm getting hit by so many things, so maybe not the best example once again, but let's see if you try and go for an immediate jump. Okay, you're super high HP, but you don't, which is really, really good. That's a super common habit that I see among people in plat, is they go for an insta jump right after they get hit, panic, and then die from it. That axe sidelight into nair into recovery, you can easily avoid that one if you just fast fall. If you do nothing, you'll avoid it. So really, when you get that mental stack overloaded is when it starts to hit, and it's happened to me so many times. I can count, or I cannot count the number of times it's happened to me, but at the very least, when I am focused, it doesn't. That was a fantastic wake up. So yeah, when we're talking about mistakes, something that's really important is mistakes that are avoidable and mistakes that you can kind of give yourself some flack for, right? Mistakes when you're so overloaded that you can't even process what's going on, you know what? That's fine. Just try and work on the scenarios that led up to that in the future. But mistakes that you can work on, like let's say you're kind of in the first stock scenario, things aren't going too quickly, you're thinking pretty clearly, and then you still jump after getting hit, or you like don't dodge that, for example, still jump after getting hit by like an axe sidelight nair, like those you can start to weed out in regards to your own gameplay. But again, it seems like you didn't do that, so it seems like you know a lot of scenarios where things are avoidable. You seem pretty experienced. It's just those small areas that really start to run away. So hopefully that helps. Maybe you can try and iron out your movement and stuff like that to help in those small areas. I really think movement is the key for you, lormen, and yeah, hopefully that helps, and I'll see you in the next one.